Now we've got the Democratic National Conference over in Chicago. We had Kamala Harris, a brief appearance on stage both before and after Joe Biden gave his big farewell. We also were expecting and saw big demonstrations, thousands of people outside, all pro-Gaza demonstrations, demonstrating against effectively the Biden stance on the Middle East situation right now. But tell us first of all what you made of what went on in the hall.
Well, the convention at the United Center in Chicago is really secured as a fortress. There are multiple security barriers. There's not just one security fence. There's several of them. It's like a demilitarized zone. And this is because leading up to this convention, there have been months of radical left-wing groups, socialist groups, communist groups, Muslim organizations who have called for their comrades and supporters to mobilize to Chicago for not just this entire week, but the prior week as well, to try to disrupt it and shut it down, particularly over the issue of Gaza, although there are a number of other issues as well. At one point, the security fence, the first one, was breached, and immediately dozens and dozens of police mobilized and forced them back out. Yeah. And the militant protesters are going to try to up their efforts again.
Yeah, bearing in mind yesterday was only day one. I mean, a lot of people were talking about this as sort of reminiscent of 1968 and anti-Vietnam War protests. Did it feel like that?
I have a colleague on the ground, and I'm looking at the videos that she's been recording. I don't think it's up to that. The security has it down. The police, Chicago police, Capitol Police, federal police, state police, etc. The Democrats are not going to allow this moment for Kamala to be disrupted. And even throughout the inside, the only moment of protest was somebody who had a banner up that said "Stop Arming Israel."
Yeah, but it was interesting that inside, going back to what happened inside the convention, Joe Biden at one point did actually say the protesters outside the convention have a point. He said as he took to the stage. We know he's no fan of Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli Prime Minister. There's talk, ceasefire talks going on at the moment. We're told the Israelis have accepted a deal. Hamas have criticised it. Look, we've been here before on both sides. But interesting for Joe Biden to say they have a point. We know that this feeling on the Democrat side, among many of these sort of the younger activists, is a huge, and the left-wing activists, is a huge, big issue for a lot of American voters.
I'm not sure what point he thinks the people on the outside are trying to make, other than the fact that they're actually very clear about their desires to see the state of Israel cease to exist. Some of them actually were holding up flags in support of Hamas, in support of jihad. So it's quite actually disturbing to me that the president would give a nod to the views of these people outside.
Yeah, no, that it is interesting, but that shows how much they're trying to balance on that, doesn't it? And Kamala Harris also, she's been very much, I think, more on the sort of the pro-Palestinian side than the Israeli side. The choice not to attend that speech given in Parliament, in Congress, by Benjamin Netanyahu, having a prior engagement, I thought was a bit of a giveaway there. But just finally, very briefly, Andy, you predict that we're going to have more protests, but you think that there is going to be such a crackdown, they're not going to allow things to get out of hand?
Yes, I'm examining the demonstrations yesterday and contrasting it in 2020 when Chicago was one of the cities that experienced widespread unrest and violence. And it's so curious when where there's a will, there's a way. And in 2020, under Democrat leadership, there was no will to shut down those violent protests.
The Black Lives Matter ones, but then now there is, because it would be bad for bad for the viewers watching back at home. Very interesting point, and and I know you were involved in a lot of those, watching those and reporting on those, and indeed getting injured in some of those as well. US journalist, and thank you so much.